now 6 o'clock. Is everyone here that you're thinking is going to be here? Randy? Okay, this is our first Finance Committee meeting in crafting our fiscal year 21 budget. And Town Manager Wingfield has sent out an agenda for today. And also, maybe just, if Mr. Showalter, do you have any opening comments, or just want to turn it over to Randy?
No, I'll just turn it over to Randy.
Okay. Walk us through what we've got here.
Okay, just going to start off, I guess, with a potential budget amendment for this year and talk a little bit about salaries and wages. And of course, this obviously affects next year's budget, so this is budgetary concern for next year. If you look at this proposed sheet, this has, I guess, salary distribution of the salary increases. And this is only affecting public works and engineering is all that's being studied. It's done through basically direct comparisons of VDOT salary descriptions to our position descriptions, and basically matching them against each other. We kind of thought you might want to see a breakout kind of by position and how they're being affected by opposition. I know obviously we want to try to focus on areas where we have vacancies and vacancy problems, which is a concern. I also want to try to treat everybody fairly too in regards to compression issues with employees with less experience being increased in pay. Basically, should an employee who's been on the job for 2 years be at the same rate of pay as an employee who's been on the job for 12 years? So we do have experience factored into these increases also. As you can see, I guess with your proposed budget amendment sheet.
What is a budget amendment sheet? Is that one of these that you passed out?
One Val passed out. This sheet. That's the first thing she has. That's it.
Well, I think I handed them to you to, that's right, there we go.
It's one set of nice little squares and blocks.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They all are squares and blocks.
It's okay.
Salary adjustments, and this includes fringe, basically a 20% multiplier for fringe. The total impact for a year, and this is entire year, is $664,000. What we would like to do, if Finance Committee is agreeable and of course Town Council is agreeable, we would like to try to make these adjustments beginning basically the last quarter of this year. That would require a total of $166,155 for those increases. Again, either full disclosure, the impact on the total budget for a year, $664,618. So that's the impact you would see going forward.
Randy, what are we looking at here though?
Those are the increases.
These increases are 664,000?
Yes, they do. So you have to keep in mind some of these are multiple positions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maintenance worker.
Do you have that in here?
Yeah, it's on the
Third
third,
pay
it's
grade.
on the
Number
first
of
wide,
Third column.
Ah, gotcha.
Third number column.
the first wide band is a maintenance worker. There's 36 people this would affect.
And it's also a position we have very regular turnover.
And this was not addressed with our study last year?
We think it was
Because
addressed to
we were heavy on
some.
public works with that.
We were, although we basically only funded that study at, I guess, approximately a third of the cost of the recommendation from that study. And that study was not, that was the SESCO study, that was not a direct comparison to VDOT salaries. So that was the SESCO comparison study of other localities, not a direct comparison to VDOT. The SESCO study included Roanoke, Salem, Blacksburg, Radford, Smithville, I believe. And in the past, I guess, a year and a half or so, VDOT has made changes to their salaries. So it's definitely affected us.
This is almost half the staff we currently have, right? 108 positions. in there. Brady, got any comment on it? I really think this
I
is a
wanna-
council decision.
I want
I
to
don't think
think
two
about
of
this,
us can.
yeah. I'd like to think about it, I mean, we've had a minute to look at it. It's a big number, and, this is knocking on the door of the, I guess, 800,000 that we had
Last
study
year.
for everything. The first recommendation.
Correct.
Hello, Joanne.
Hi.
Welcome to sit up here and get one of each of these, it's fine. And you want to give her a budget amendment too?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one of those and one of each of these right here. Well, I think for starters, I'd like some time to think about this and,
That's certainly appropriate.
oh yeah. My initial thought is it's a lot. I am familiar with some of the engineering, and I know we've lost 2 people to VDOT. And I am familiar with that, but Public Works I'm not as familiar with. And it's just, some big numbers. So I mean, it's too early for me to give, my initial response is it's a lot. And my goal is to take care of our prison employees rather than hire new ones, but this is a big number. And that's really all I can say right now.
So what are you looking from us?
Oh,
General direction on
yes, yes.
whether this is
Yeah,
worth
yeah, yeah.
consideration, and let's go over, I guess, some of the
These
other
aren't
things
mine,
in
these are
the
just out
budget,
here.
potential budget amendment.
Get one of each of those.
Rescue,
Right.
Rescue has received a grant for cardiac monitors. That's basically freed up some money in the rescue budget, and they would like to utilize the savings from that grant that they spent on the cardiac monitors to basically do some capital improvements, capital camera system installation at the station, and also replace 3 Lucas CPR devices.
So the last 2 items.
Yes.
They don't have cameras down there right now, huh?
They have some cameras, but they don't have, it's not full coverage.
Is that what this would do, is take it from partial coverage to full?
I think that's the case.
Is there any issues down there?
Well, it's one of those things, I guess, the more coverage you have of the facility, the better. We have had, I guess, occasionally instances at, just an example, Aquatic Center, where we would have liked to have had more coverage.
Right, when the cars are getting broken into.
You have a problem with that?
No.
I mean, well, I mean, do we have a problem with cars getting broken into?
We did,
Well, at the Aquatic Center, we have, yes.
but we didn't have any type of real camera system to catch anybody. They were doing it in the lower lots out back, right?
Right.
We, like I say, we have partial coverage of the parking lot, we didn't have full coverage
Right.
of the Aquatic Park.
I think part of this camera system for rescue had to get taken offline when they did the renovations. And they didn't have the funds to put it back up on.
Okay. But because he received this rescue grant, now the funds are available from last year's budget, and so I really don't have an issue with this.
The fire department has already really been approved. We just wanted to go ahead and include it in the budget amendment, just for clarification purposes.
Okay.
And also, IT security door access, $50,000 for that. We feel that needs to be done. Our software is outdated for our security doors, and
What's your security doors?
basically these magnetic type door passes for several buildings. We have them not only this building, we have them at rec center, the rescue squad, fire department, basically key card access.
Yeah,
Basically
it's the system
magnetic
for all
access.
of
And
the
it's
door
all-
locking.
Yes, it's
mechanisms.
multiple buildings. But the software is basically no longer supported. So
Okay.
we're looking at basically a required upgrade for those.
So we're reallocating security
Yes.
operations center, right? Where you reallocating that from?
Well, that will go into their 2021 budget. So instead of spending the 50,000 on the security operations center in FY20, they're gonna spend it on the security door access. And they'll move the security operations center changes to the FY21 budget.
This kind of a change of priority, I think, in part to the new IT director recommendation.
Okay. He hasn't had enough time to bid this out, right?
Now,
Okay.
I think we rough guess about $2,000 a camera, but that includes, putting it up there, running wire, having mounting brackets. And he was thinking, maybe 4 cameras for full coverage.
Well, I think that's what we came out with, right? Right, first time. So is he gonna put that in his budget next year, you know? Okay.
We'll look at
Okay, for Ms. Hicks' benefit, what we're doing now, this budget amendment, these are periodically something the staff brings to our attention after we've said, we're still operating under fiscal year 1920 right now, 2019-2020. And so this is the third budget amendment. What this is sometimes during the year, the staff feels it necessary to bring some budget changes to us, and we look at those and consider those. And a lot of times it has to do with rollover projects that maybe were funded last year or this year, and they want to change years and so forth, just to bring up to speed with what we're doing. So this is the third one we've had this year. Our new fiscal year will start July 1st, and so that's a few months away. So these are just interim things that they say, hey, these are changes we want to make to our budget.
Okay,
This
since
is
that's
what
a
you
change to our budget, can we talk about something else really quick? I know we're talking about, and since you're the finance committee, maybe Valerie that's here too. I was only able to print out a quarter of the receipts from the farmer's market.
Okay, well, let's get through our, I'm gonna propose,
Okay.
we'll get through our agenda, and then if we have some time, we'll go through other
Okay.
things, but let's stick to our agenda for now. I just want to let you know, this is our program right now, or the agenda for tonight, and then we get to the end, we'll maybe discuss
That's
other
fine.
things. That's okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so basically, the cameras have funding associated, grant funding associated with those, right? I know the IT,
the
The security?
rescue ones
Yeah, the rescue, line.
have to do with the grant.
the rescue have grant money associated with it,
Right.
and, okay.
Well, grant money's not paying for the cameras. It's freeing up money that they have in
Correct.
place to pay for the cameras. They're
Correct.
not getting grant money for the cameras. They're using grant money somewhere else, which freed up some of the
We
budget.
got grant money for the
funds.
defibrillators, for monitors.
Okay, so we have
Which
monitors.
now they want to use for cameras, and adding
Things from
cameras.
Lucas devices.
Yeah, and some Lucas CPR devices.
But the money was gonna be used, the money they wanted to use for this was gonna be used for what?
Originally, there was approved in the budget $204,000 for cardiac monitors.
Okay,
And they were able to get them for $187,891. And then we got a grant from OEMS for $52,000 to pay a part of that $187,000. So essentially, they're asking to reallocate a portion of that $204,000 that they got reimbursed for grant in the savings to replace 3 Lucas devices and to install the camera system at rescue.
okay. I got it now. So,
Basically, you've got a free $68,415, and they've spent it all but $6,725.
and it's towards security and then life-saving device.
Correct.
3 life-saving devices, I see, okay, thank you. Okay, and then, so the fire is just, we talked about that, but you
Yes, and it's technically really already been approved by council, we're just
Right,
trying to include it in the budget amendment for clarification.
And then the IT is a new, we have a grant for that as well?
No, we have money in for operations center, although basically priority change from new IT director Craig, he prioritizes the security door access over the security operations center. So basically what he's asking is to substitute in the security door access this year with plans to ask for the security operations center next fiscal year.
And go ahead and describe what the security operations center is again. What is that? What does that mean?
I probably should have Craig here for that.
Well, it's just sort
I
of.
mean,
If I recall correctly, it is how we set up all of our security on the network and the backup support for that.
Which he's gonna have in the budget next year, but he's not using it this year.
And
Correct.
that's something that Adam described to us last year. Did he? I mean, if we had it in our budget.
Yeah, he would have.
We had it in our budget, so it must have been something that he had presented. I'm just asking.
Yes.
I can't
Did he
remember.
present
It
it?
was, yes, it was included in the budget, it was presented.
Okay.
Was it, did he talk about like the did he say security ops center last year?
I don't think
That's what it was called in the budget, security
Okay.
operations, for sure.
I don't remember, but it's okay.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I just want to make sure it's something that we had reviewed
Okay.
before.
I guess he wants to make sure the doors are in the entry and all safe before he goes in,
Well,
adding
I think
anything to
it's just
security.
the fact that he can't get support, software support anymore.
Right.
So it's about software or real doors?
Well, the doors won't work without the software upgrades.
So which doors are we talking about? The ones on this?
It's in several buildings throughout the.
Oh,
basically
okay,
any-
so it's not
any-
just here?
No, it's
Key-
throughout.
Any key fob access like that,
Mm.
basically.
Your office
Fire
about?
center, rec center.
Yeah.
The fire and rescue have these, are they equipped too? So
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah, they both do.
Okay.
Well, and that'll enable him to suggest who gets in where. Right.
Yes,
Is
that
there
that is, we control it now, I mean, who gets in where. But it's just basically to be able to maintain that and make sure it's still functioning properly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Is it, and it's not functioning properly now?
Well, no, it is functioning properly. We just anticipate, since we can't get software updates, it's no longer supported, we're gonna start having potential problems with it.
The other issue is the current software, so for example, over at the Aquatic Center, if they need to add somebody from Virginia Tech or whatever to get into the building, they can do it there. They used to be able to do it there, but now because the software has become so critical and non-supported, everything's had to move to IT. They can't at the Aquatic Center anymore add somebody from Virginia Tech that needs to get into the building. They have to call over to IT and have them add it because the software is fragile, I guess is the best word for it.
To me, that wouldn't be unnecessary right now because, I mean, if somebody's coming from another school or somewhere else that needs to get inside the building and it's not us, I guess they should be able to call ID over here just to make sure that we know who is going over there.
Well, that's a what if, so you'll be able to mention that when you go to vote for it. Maybe jot down some of the things you want to talk about concerning these. But that's an aquatic center, that's their job, is to determine who the right people are who's coming in there. But also the staff uses that too, not just there, correct? They have ID cards
Yes.
that they get in. So if it breaks, we're either going to be doing budget amendment next year, or he's going to put it into the budget this coming year, right?
That would be my only question, is to know what we approved in the budget for security operations, because that's gonna be asked for again.
Yes.
So really, what we're doing is in the middle of the year,
Switch.
well, what we're doing is even though it's a budget amendment, it's gonna come up with another $50,000 in this year's budget. I'd just like to know more about what that's for.
I'm trying to
we'd actually scheduled security door access for, we were gonna ask for that next year, so. That was included in this past year's budget, but it was cut.
So the op center would be just
Sometimes
carry
people-
I don't want access.
I don't want either, but I'm just saying, there's not even access here either, so.
So is it something we feel we're gonna need in the next 3 months, 4 months?
The door access? Yeah.
Okay. Randy? Yeah?
So,
Okay. Very good. And then the salary adjustments you've talked about. And I'm gonna understand the box down here says, the box says $166,000.
That's the amount that's needed to fund out of the budget. That's the additional funding.
For the fourth quarter.
So the 664 is what's being requested for next year.
That's the annual
I mean, the
amount.
annual, and you're
Right.
saying we need to do this now, and that's what the cost is to
Right.
get us
If
through the
you
rest
did
of
it
this
in the
year.
final quarter of the year, that would be the cost
Gotcha.
to implement for the 1 quarter.
Okay.
Is that for all departments or for which departments?
Well, you came in late, but this is, the sheet right here is, the sheet right here, you can look at that. We're not taking any action on it, or even recommending anything tonight. I don't think, are we? No. So these are the positions and the increases that are being proposed to us for various positions, and they're mostly in public, or specifically in public works and engineering. And I will say, yeah, I know in engineering, we lost 2 employees to be out here within the last calendar, or, I don't know, when did Nestor leave? Was that more than a year ago?
Couple years.
Was it 2 years?
We've lost some maintenance people too, also.
Okay. And some maintenance
Yeah,
staff?
five,
That
five
moved
in the
VDOT
last 18 months.
over to the residency? Wow. Okay.
Because they're paying $16 an hour.
Yeah, well, 18, right?
Yeah, it fluctuated depending on where they were hired and so forth, but most of them was right around the average of 16. Some went up to 18 and a half.
So it's basically $3 or $4 more an hour.
I know even fuel house is paying
And we
a bit
try-
more.
Okay. Well, we'll,
There's one thing on the bottom there, Fred, about
Yep, there's
recreation.
one more
park.
other item on this.
oh, okay, sorry, new full-time equivalent for recreation. Now, this was, didn't we do a full-time last year for that, for rec? There's Brad right here. We did for engineering, we transitioned one to full-time for engineering, or, for reception.
So this has nothing to do with, Brad, you had left. I don't think you got this. Randy told us we're looking to do a farmer's market position and a special events position.
Oh, okay.
Were you there for that?
I left right at 3 because I had a church function.
But does this have anything to do with that?
So yes, so
Okay, yeah,
basically
go
the
ahead, I'm
position
sorry.
would be a special events assistant. And basically what the thought process of it is, last year, in the past, with the special events coordinator's position, with almost close to 30 some events that we did throughout the town, along with the farmer's market, and the events that we also did and also sort of sanctioned and sponsored. Ultimately, it was just, in my opinion, it's very hard to get 100% for each one of those items. It was sort of prioritized, at the given time. Therefore, I think that there's some things that suffer because of that.
Mhm.
And so with this particular position, it's a special events assistant, so it would actually help the events coordinator. My proposal is to drop the grade level of the events coordinator by a couple grades. And then this position primarily would concentrate a lot on the farmers market, recruitment of vendors, recruitment of customers and those types of items, and put that more detailed approach into it, and work with associations such as the Cooperative Extension and folks along those lines, more along the lines of the farm community and such, to try to build up the farmers market. That wouldn't be their only position.
Right.
Their next part of it would be as an assistant to the special events. That way, you know, in many cases, special events is something going on every weekend, you know, and in this situation, there could be opportunities if we had a 5K race that maybe not necessarily events coordinator needed to be there, the special events assistant could be there for those types of things, just to sort of alleviate a little bit of that, you know, overwhelming amount of items and be able to provide a little bit more detail to each of the events, whether it be within our department, whether it's events that we sponsor, such as like the Wilderness Trail Festival and those types of things, and then as well spend good quality time recruiting vendors, marketing the market as well as special events.
So it's not two separate positions that you mentioned, right?
Correct.
It's basically a primary and then an assistant position.
That's correct.
And you're dropping the primary position a couple pay grades.
That's correct.
Okay. That sort of
If you
offsets
drop
the
that a
cost.
couple pay grades, it's still not enough, it says no funds are needed. So,
For this
Yeah,
current
that case.
fiscal year, it would increase the budgets going into next year for that.
Yeah.
right, I see what you're saying, yeah. Okay, that's why it's not,
And we would eliminate a permanent part-time position
Yeah, you know,
that
if
actually has benefits.
the permanent part-time position already has health benefits that we are already paying for an employee. So if that individual was to be promoted, then, you know, instead of working 35 to 38 hours, they would be a full-time employee at that point.
So we took a hit for the cost of the market, for the marketplace. And a lot of that stuff is going into my budget for Parks and Rec. And a lot of these bills were going into itemized as supplies and materials. Or some of them were going under printing and supplies. This is only a quarter of the bills that we got that I saw for the farmers market. Some of those included the $100 facial paints for events downtown at the farmers market. Some of those were renting rooms for $1,500. Some of those included jumping houses and things like that. In a farmers market that's actually not giving us any, is it making any money at all, the farmers market, Valerie?
it's, no, and we're gonna focus on the budget amendment and the positions, and we'll get, I mean, we need to discuss this, but now's not the time to do that.
Well, we're talking about positions that we're gonna create when we're still doing a farmer's market that is not in the right location. So can we discuss a different location for the farmer's market?
Not
Can we
tonight.
do something
Not
else
tonight.
with that?
This is not the time or the place to discuss the location of the farmer's market. This is our introduction to this year's budget, and we're starting with the budget amendment. And with all due respect, I understand that there'll be a time to discuss this, and probably as an entire council, but for now, just to keep on our agenda and get through this, I want to stick with this. But yeah, we have plenty of time to talk about next year's budget and if we're, you know, what we're doing, what we're spending and where it is and all this type of stuff. And we decided as a group, we're gonna have a separate work session about the farmer's market, and that's probably the best place to talk about all that. Didn't we discuss that at the
Yeah, we haven't.
whenever we set it up?
hope to do it soon before you
I
start.
don't disagree, and, you know, we all have thoughts on that, and in fact, that would be a good time to discuss all of that.
Well, I'm
What
just
are we
saying, we're
doing?
discussing about the two positions or one position.
Yeah.
This is the right time because that's gonna cost money. That if we're gonna continue to do a farmer's market, we're paying a company to do, or somebody to do it, why don't we pay? We are paying, DCI is trying to get $22,000 from us this year. Why don't they have an events coordinator out of that budget? What are they doing for us? What's DCI doing for us?
We're not talking about that tonight. We're
Yeah,
not talking about the grants, Joanna, this is the amendment that was proposed in front of us. We have staff's here proposing 2 positions, which we are not gonna make any decisions tonight about.
These are just introductions into this year.
And really, I mean, if I were you, I'd call DCI and ask them if they would supply a position for this.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean,
let's do
instead of-
that.
Instead of, there's a lot of criticism coming out, why don't you offer some solutions?
Well,
Offer
NRB
some
Homegrown
solutions.
wants to participate on this, and they will want to do the farmer's market
Who?
if they have the choice. NRB Homegrown Group.
So
Well,
have
and
you
all
reached-
this, we'll talk about that at our work session,
Okay.
and I just want to stick to this agenda for now.
Yeah.
And you're welcome, I mean, anyone here is welcome to comment at this table anyway, is welcome to comment on the issues that are on here. And we're not making any decisions tonight, this is just, we're just ramping up for this year's budget. We're starting with the budget amendment.
Yeah.
So,
Which is unusual, right?
what?
That we usually have a budget amendment in this meeting.
It's unusual that we have a budget amendment this late in the year.
Yeah.
yes.
We'll just kind of tell you for reference, we do typically at least have one budget amendment every year. We kind of have to in the
I'd
fall.
say we probably have
Yes,
at
we pretty
least
much
one or
have
two,
to,
yeah.
yes, pretty much have to have.
So
one
what's
in the
gonna be
fall,
asked with
record
this
fall.
amendment with these positions?
What direction do you need from us on this that will?
Well, I don't think there's, first of all, it's a council decision, that's gonna be part of the budget. Are you guys just seeing our feelings on it? Like that's happened in years past, because it's a council decision.
Well, the
Position.
budget amendment is, but
But why is it here? Are we, if council votes on this, we're gonna have 2 positions open immediately?
Well, one,
Well, one's already open.
right, and then this special events assistant position. So the impact of this budget amendment